We are Lucy and Kelsey, and we've spent the last few years living a fully nomadic life, exploring the beautiful west coast of British Columbia. Now that we've found ourselves in Melbourne, Australia, our travel adventures are taking a slight pause while we prepare to start a new chapter of our life together. Follow us for updates as we embark on our fertility journey. You'll also likely get a bunch of adorable videos thrown in along the way of our deaf cattle dog, Jude, and some other fun adventures that we all go on. I don't know if I'm gonna get in trouble for saying this. I haven't run this by my wife. I haven't checked with her if it's okay for me to actually say this to thousands and thousands of people. But here goes nothing. This year is likely going to be the year that we start looking into having a family, starting the process. We have a few different options that we are considering right now. However, one of the options and routes that we want to go down was requiring, and when we were living in Canada, we were talking about it lots, it requires sort of having a doctor and requires going for some tests to get the process started. But when you move around every single month, you would make an appointment, but then it would be for the next month. So you either have to drive 5-6 hours back for the appointment or find a new doctor at the new location. It was just not really possible. And so now that we have a location, we are close to certain clinics where we can actually do things to assist us with starting the process of making some babies. This is our first video documenting our fertility journey, and it's starting in true fashion with a bit of chaos. So this is our dog kennel, dog crate, and we have to cover it completely so that Jude doesn't get like overwhelmed with her senses and all of that fun stuff. And so we use Betsy, the cow, so that we can put a sheet over the top so that she can't bite the sheet, pull it in, which she has done before. And so we're just getting set up. I thought we had a lot of time. All of us, I was gonna jump in the shower, wash my hair, do all those fun things, get all nice and beautiful, and turns out do not have that time. We gotta go. So we're heading to St. Kilda for an appointment with the nurse.
I have one question for you.
Yeah.
Could you go over there?
Yeah.
I gotta put Betsy in the corner.
I'm in the way. Put Betsy in the corner. Basically what happened is we had our first appointment with the doctor, so Dr. Vadim. He told us all these things. He gave me blood work paperwork, he gave me ultrasound paperwork, and then I all of a sudden was like, holy smokes, this is getting really close and really real. So I think what's gonna happen is we just need to put the brakes on a tiny bit till later this year and then start all of these things. Turns out I found this incredible donor on the Donor Bank app, and then I tried to request the donor sperm, and then all of a sudden I got this email from this other company who is like, oh no, you need to deal with us. So long story short, they booked me in for a nurse appointment, which is what we're now going for, which basically means they're gonna cover a ton of details. My hope is that it will put us in the position where if we do find perfect donor sperm, then we'll be able to actually request it and purchase it and store it until we're ready. We already have one child, I keep forgetting.
Parenting 101.
She's eating a tub of peanut butter right now. How is it? How is it? Yum? She doesn't know that we're about to leave her yet, but we gotta go. The Lynn Fox house, which we just went past, and it's a very official looking building. We're early, which I absolutely love. Hate being late.
There's the building.
Let's do it. Here's the Lynn Fox house. so overwhelming. The poor nurse, I feel like we just gave her grey hairs.
She had to exit our meeting.
She's left, she's gone. She was there. She's now no longer there.
You stumped her with the question. That was nice.
Yeah, we're just trying to find out right now if we order 1 vial of sperm, if we can just do 1 IUI, or if it can do 2 of the IUIs, which is our plan with our doctor, or if it's just gone, if the IUI doesn't work.
Well, it's different than in Canada where we know all this information, whereas you can order like 9 vials of sperm and then continue to use them. In Australia, you can actually just order 1. So
Yeah.
it's like...
And there's not much to choose from.
No.
So now we're trying to decide, well, should we even do IUI?
And just go straight to IVF
Because
and get some embryos.
If we just get 1 vial, we want to make our chances.
I like gambling. It's
I
like,
feel like-
what's our best chance? It's like, let's...
And she's like, I'll just go ask the lab. Like, sorry, is that here? Like, the lab is just here? I'm so confused.
Anyways, they can probably hear this whole thing and it's making me uncomfortable, so we're going to go now.
Bye. Overall, I would rate that whole appointment and consults like a 9 out of 10. And the only part that doesn't make it a 10 out of 10 is that now we're just so confused about the finances. we got the questions answered when she came back in and told us all about the vial and how it is reserved for your family and all those fun things.
She said reserved about 500 times and then didn't tell me what they were reserved for, or...
That was the different person. So our
No,
nurse...
the second part,
Yeah.
the money. And I was like, didn't we reserve them for our family? Like, we had a language with the first nurse and she understood, and then she was like, oh no, it's per vial. I'm like, we're not talking about vials anymore.
Yeah, so we're just a little bit, I would say, not confused, but need some further clarification. So they're going to send us an email just to clarify the breakdown. From what we can understand, basically once you're ready, give them a call. We've got to go get some counselling. We have to do 2 counselling appointments. I have to do blood work. I need to go for an ultrasound. And then we review those results and essentially call this place the day before we're ready to start. And then you're like ready to go. That's like your next cycle is when you'll start. And so that's when they would, you have to obviously have the sperm reserved.
It's $1,000.
Which is $1,000. And then the other thing is $1,000. And then if you got to re-reserve, it's $1,000. And then
No, that's $400.
don't even think about like
forgetting
because it's $1,000 fee. And then
there's
he
$1,000.
he actually bills you separately, which is
His fees
another
went up,
his
so
fees went
it's
up.
$1,000.
So it's another $1,000 for him. And then sometimes he can do a phone consult and that's $1,000. So pretty much everything is $1,000, and we
But
just
not actually. Like, if you want like actual factual information, we're just rambling right now. We can give you that because it's not actually $1,000 for everything. That was just like a funny thing that happened.
Well, she just kept saying it.
Yeah, I know, but we don't want then you to think that it actually everything costs $1,000 because it doesn't.
2 things cost $1,000 for sure, and then
You
it
might
costs,
have to do them 1,000 times.
and then every time you do it, it costs $1,000. Oh. Overall, though, I would say it was a positive experience. I feel like I need a coffee and something to eat.
I'm very hungry.
Do you?
Yeah, and my lips are so dry. It hurts.
Overall,
Hungry.
positive experience.
Wait till you're having twins and how hungry you're gonna be then.
One step closer to making babies. Baby. Who knows?
Also, you said a vial of sperm, and it's like, I don't know if you've ever seen a man ejaculate, but it's not this much comes out in a vial is that big. Like, it might be a bit more than that. It's gonna be a bit more than this big of a vial.
It depends.
Yeah, well, hopefully I'm not paying $1,000 for this. I'd want like a big shotter.
Big shot.
Yeah, I want a big...
Let's go eat.
Does she notice?
We made it home from the appointment, and to be completely honest with you, it wiped me. Like, I felt fatigued. I said to Kelsey on the way home, I feel like I've just done back-to-back meetings, like a big full day at work where my mind has had to be like switched on for the whole time. And we were probably only there for a little bit over an hour. And so it was really like information overload, but in a good way. We got all of our questions answered. And even since now we're a few days later, and I'm filming this as a recap because I've talked to a lot of people on Instagram specifically, and there's lots of questions coming up, and we want to make sure that they get answered because it's actually really exciting to me to think about documenting this journey, not only to like look back on, But the other part that's exciting for me is to be able to share it with other people who really do need it. So we have a few channels that we follow. I recommend giving them also a follow, watching their YouTube, following them on Instagram. So Ali and Sam are a fantastic couple who just share so much about their journey. Jesse and Millie are two people that we look up to. They used for their beautiful baby Tide, Rainbow Fertility, who we are actually using and going through. And so it was really like helpful to talk to these two couples about their journey. And then Erin with Modest Maverick, of course, she's just one of our favorite humans in general. And it's been really awesome to see her so vulnerably, is that a word? Vulnerably? I don't even know. You know what I mean? She's like so brave and so honest, and she just shares like the real side behind everything. And that's what I would like to be able to one day do for someone. Maybe you just impact one person's life, and we feel a sense of bravery and we feel ready to like go into this because of what other people have been so generous with sharing. There is a big part of me that is just like excited to maybe help someone else along the journey. And so some of the questions that we got that I just want to like clarify, the hope, the goal, if everything goes as planned, is for me to carry first. We feel like Kelsey has a little bit more of like a motherly instinct, and I just have a little bit of a fear that if she actually carries the baby and connects with the baby in that way, that I'm just going to be like standing there on the sidelines trying not to do anything wrong. And I just feel like carrying for me will help me with that sort of motherly instinct that people say that you get. And so that was like just a long conversation that her and I have had back and forth for a number of years now, is just like sort of figuring that out. And you know, she's the best. She's the most amazing human in the world. So supportive. She's like, you want to go first? You go first. And so ideally we would both love to carry. She has this like dream to be pregnant at the same time, and I just think that that sounds like a really cute Instagram photo, but in reality, outside of that photo, it just sounds like a really hard time and a little bit overwhelming for me. So we're gonna try and line things up in an ideal world pretty close together. And so I'm gonna go first. I'm gonna go through IUI. So intrauterine insemination is what we have here. We're gonna try 2 of those as per our plan with our doctor before moving to IVF. And so one of the biggest reasons that we do wanna try that, and you know, we've talked to a lot of couples that look back and they wish they had skipped IUI and just gone straight to IVF. I think everyone's journey is different and you just need to do what feels right. And for us, IUI does feel like the right first step. So it's a lot less invasive, there's a lot less drugs involved. And for someone who basically the doctor has told me, for someone who's young, fit, healthy, that sort of thing is where they would recommend going for these IUIs, because your chances are at least like somewhat good versus like once you pass 40, the quality of your eggs starts to deteriorate. And so that has been the recommendation from our doctor. Obviously it's a choice if we wanted to go straight to IVF, which we've definitely spoken about. Even in the appointment we had with the nurse, we spoke about, should we go straight to IVF? And so what that looks like is there is a number of things that happen, and I sort of just wanted to like go over what we're looking at and what we're expecting. For people maybe that are like starting their journey, this is like the nitty gritty, the not so fun stuff, the ins and the outs of it. And so what happens is you get in our first appointment with our nurse just now, we got this medication schedule. And so this is sort of following the cycle. And it's from, the day before I get my period, I let them know. And then there's certain tablets, I guess, that you take on certain days of your cycle. And then there's also certain scans that you go for and tests. There's a trigger shot, which Kelsey has to do for me at home. Like, so there's this plan, there's this schedule, and we basically just kick it into gear when we're ready to go. And so that will be hopefully successful for us. However, we do know the percentages of the success rate basically of IUI, especially compared to IVF. So they have mentally prepared us that it might not work and that we may need to do another cycle of IUI and that also may not work. And then we would need to look at changing to IVF if it's something that we still want to do. And so that's our medication schedule. We need to pick up that medication from their office the day before we start things, and it's all pretty laid out. We do have something else that I just wanted to share. It's a fee estimate is what it's called. And so it's a piece of paper about our current treatment plan. And so essentially what we have here is $1,000 for the preparation of semen for the purpose of artificial insemination. That's what it says. That's the line item. The item number is actually sperm prep, which I think is really cool. So that's $1,000. And then the actual cost of the donor sperm cycle is also $1,000. So you would have heard us talking on the video about how everything was about $1,000. That's sort of where it all started when we had the chat with the financial lady. There was just lots of $1,000 numbers being thrown around. But I just wanted to like share the real side of what's going on. So we have $2,000 right there. For the doctor side of things, we have $390 cost for our doctor to actually manage the cycle. So when I do start the medication and when they're doing the like scans and the tests, from what I understand, to make sure everything is looking good, $390 for them to manage that cycle. And then on the actual insemination, so like on the day that the little spermies get inserted and swim for their dear life and try and find my egg and do their thing in there, that's $710. Now the medication can be up to $2,000 is what we were told. It's looking like for us, the actual cost of medication is about $250. And so we were very happy to see the breakdown of that in an email that followed our appointment, because we were expecting it to be about $2,000. And so $250 just sounds amazing. I had to actually reply to her email and say, are you sure it's not supposed to be 2500? Like, are you missing a zero in there? And so that was a really nice surprise, which doesn't often happen when you're in this situation, because it does just seem like things really add up really quickly. And so that seems to be our total cost. The only other things that we do need to do before we can even apply and reserve sperm are 2 counseling sessions. And these are not what I thought. I thought it was like, oh, it's gonna help me with my stress about having a baby and like how we're gonna be as mothers and all of, I thought it was like a personal like therapist session. No, it's more to find out the legalities of what it looks like to have a donor. I think about how to like talk to the baby or your child around, you know, where they came from, and just like to support you in that whole conversation that, to be honest, I'm stoked for, because I don't want to do the wrong thing. I want to make sure this baby or these babies have the best life ever. And I want to make sure that if they are able to, you know, ask questions about the donor, that they can do that in a comfortable way. And knowing some language and some tools around how to have those conversations, I think is going to be really helpful for me, really helpful for Kelsey, and then obviously really helpful for our child or children. The reason I say children is because not so much with IUI, more with IVF. There are the chance of twins. There are twins in my family. And so I'm a little bit convinced already that I'm going to have twins. And I'm not stoked on that. Like the idea of going from 0 to 2 babies at once terrifies me. But you get what you get and you don't get upset. And so whether it be one, whether it be twins, oh my gosh, I can't even imagine if it was triplets. We will cross that bridge if it comes to it. Quadruplets, can you imagine? Oh my goodness, let's not go there. Let's just think it's just gonna be one. And so our next steps, we need to go for the counseling sessions. I need to go for blood work. I need to go for an ultrasound. I need to look into genetic screening. We'll probably do a whole nother YouTube video on that, because it's like a whole thing in itself. And that is about it, I believe. And so that's a full update. We will keep sharing these resources. If they're helpful, please let me know in the comments. I'm a people person and I want to continue the conversation. So I'd love to support you. I'd love to help you. I'd love to chat with you if you're either in the process. We've had lots of people reach out on Instagram telling us that they've been through this process and how amazing it was, how successful it was, and some of the challenges that they faced. And so I'm just pumped to document this journey. I'm pumped to share it with you. And I'm pumped to also break it down with like really specific things about like how much that costs and like what are our next steps with blood work and ultrasound. It might not always be that fun or exciting or super sexy. However, I do believe that the education is helpful for people. And I can't wait to look back and be like, wow, remember where it all started, where we went for blood work and urine samples and all of those things that are part of this whole journey and this whole process. So I'm pumped to share. Please give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't already, subscribe to this channel. I highly recommend you do that. And I can't wait to see you for another YouTube video all about our fertility journey next time on the channel. Stay tuned. So one of the things that I just need to get off my chest is that I am absolutely terrified. As you know, I feel like I'm going to make so many mistakes, and I feel like I'm just not going to be the greatest mom. Those are some very real fears that I'm faced with right now. However, I do believe talking about them is helpful, and at the same time, in my heart of hearts, I do know that together we are going to rock this thing. I do just have to give a huge shout out to my beautiful, incredible wife, Kelsey. I feel so so grateful to be going on this journey with you, and I couldn't imagine obviously doing it with anybody else, but your patience, your kindness, and to be completely honest with you, your experience dealing with young babies and taking care of children of all ages is making me feel a little bit more comfortable knowing what we're getting into. So a huge shout out to my rock star wife, my rock, my everything. I love you so much, and I can't wait to continue going on this journey as we start our own family together.